for people that are starting out to help get them to the next level. I mean, that's how I started my business in Chicago. I mean, I would never have gotten where I am today were it not for the chops I developed in Chicago. I completely believe in that philosophy 100%. I see you, Lisa, as an observer, and you're able to take things you see and convert them into stories and messages and observations that resonate and make sense. What I love about your snippet content, your shorts, however you'd like to call, I don't know what you call them, but how I look at them is that you're able to take basic situations and ask it in a question. You'll say, what does this mean? Or why is this happening? And I want to understand a little bit more about that process and experience for you. And how are you able to do that? I'm not asking you how do you become an actor? How do you become an artist? But are you open all the time? Are you just walking around like a sponge and writing things down? Because some of your observations are so incredibly nuanced, but somehow powerful and just sort of smack you in the face. Like, why didn't I think of that? Yes. That is everything what she just said. And it's always with humor.
So what's interesting is I don't write anything down.
Okay.
So a quick comedy that I do on the internet really is me popping in the moment, because that is what I'm thinking at that moment. And I think that comes from, at one point in my life, I thought if I didn't understand anything, I thought that it's because I was dumb and not because that thing didn't make sense. So, for example, when I was growing up, we learned about Anne Frank and Hitler and all of that. And I just remember being so confused when I heard about the pure race. And I was like, that can't be why he did all that. That doesn't make any sense. So I would ask questions and be like, what? And even things with the economy and money, things that don't make sense because they're man-made, I question them. And honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with I have ADHD, and I haven't delved too deep into where I fall on the autism spectrum, but there is some spectrum activity there. So a lot of normalities and niceties of our culture genuinely do not make sense to me. And I am genuinely questioning them. And the way my brain works is I connect a lot of dots very quickly. So sometimes what you're hearing is not all the dots that has been connected. So I'll say a sentence, and then my brain, a trillion dots have connected that leads to the next sentence. And when those two sentences are put right next to each other, I could see how for the listener, it could be like, yo, whoa, how'd you get there? Because my brain is moving that fast and connecting all the dots in the world.
I love it. I mean, I love that I'm not the only one that has noticed this about your form of comedy. I think it's brilliant, and it's really what keeps me following you and listening to your messaging. I heard you talk, about something happening in business with Black people in procurement. And I thought, oh my gosh, I mean, she is really an entrepreneur. So what is happening in your entrepreneur life? Do you consider your appearances on shows an entrepreneurial life? I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you're an actor, you're on this amazing TV show. You have multiple characters. How do you divide these things up in your lives? Or is this your Lisa B experience, all of it?
So this is a great question. It's actually something I could nerd out on. I look at everything I do through the entrepreneurial lens. So what that looks like is, I'm about to throw a lot of corporate sounding words out there.
I love corporate sounding words because that's where I come from. So go ahead, lay it on me.
So creating sustainable models that can allow a business to function, that allow room for projected growth is what I'm doing.
Wow. Okay. Now that
I know.
I love it.
I know. So for example, with the characters. So me, Lisa Beasley, the artist, I look at it like I am couched under my production company. So eventually when I start picking up other people's shows and producing other people's works, I'm the blueprint for how I'm doing that in my company. I look at myself as an artist under my own company. It just so happens that it's me. So I look at everything that I do as different streams of revenue for the same business. When I look at Lisa Beasley, the actor, and other people are giving me opportunities, I look at those kind of like partnerships because I don't work for anyone. And the things that I do outside of that work marketing wise to help build more of those partnerships. So if I'm looking at the live show that I do, that's a separate piece of revenue for my business, but it's also a great marketing tool that gets me more access to auditions and people wanting to work with me because I don't have a traditional team, like a manager. I have my Chicago agents for commercials and stuff like that, but I don't have like your typical Hollywood management because we couldn't get on the same page because they couldn't understand all of this stuff I'm telling you right now.
Right. Well, you had the wrong people. Definitely not the right people.
Exactly. So like my characters, I look at each character like an individual product under the brand that's Lisa Beasley. So you have, here's Lisa Beasley, the person, and all of these product offerings come with it. So you have Margaret Thatcher, Lori Lightfoot, Beyonce, Jay-Z. And my whole thing is you should be able to always widen out and expand on something that's a part of my organization. So I very much take a very methodical business, entrepreneurial minded approach to all of this because what's happening now, I figured out what my formula for success is, which for me is talent plus consistency plus money. And now that I have money, I'm able to reinvest in certain projects that have legs. I'm able to follow momentum. That's another thing. I really understand timing and momentum. So it's one of the reasons why to be on my team, you have to understand that I'm going to be on timing and momentum side all the time, not this 3-month plan we drafted.
Right. Well, you know, what I love about all of this is that entrepreneurship can be so many things and people are underestimating the power and value of it, whether you're dealing with companies that don't understand entrepreneurs and they're afraid to hire them because they're afraid they're going to take their jobs or whatever, or just sort of the broader conversation around what is entrepreneurship? I mean, I feel like a big part of it is curiosity, which you didn't mention as one of your pillars. I mean, you're a curious person. You're an amazing observer. You're able to pick up nuances. And these are the skills I believe can make or break you if you are going to go down the path of running your own businesses. You know, you have to be curious and you have to observe things and you have to be tapped into change and to your future and other futures. You just have to have this openness to experience and see things and want to know things in order to be successful.